The FIBA Asia Cup is just right around the corner. The biggest question is Gilas Pilipinas ready after all the games that we've witnessed them play so far in international competition? Here we go. A lot can be said about this Gilas men's national basketball team, and one thing is for certain is that Chot Reyes will never die. He will keep coming back and he will keep being the head coach probably until he will no longer exist on this planet Earth. So, if you have already been up to date on a bit of Gilas news, Chot Reyes again will be coaching the sidelines for the Gilas men's national basketball team. He will be replacing Nenad Vucinic, who I believe will fall back to being an assistant coach or more of a consultant in the Gilas men's national basketball team. Previously it was Tab Baldwin. We really wanted him to spearhead the whole thing. I think there was a lot of clamor for him in the past couple of months after an abysmal showing in the Southeast Asian Games. But here we are, Chot Reyes is back at the helm. And this time, our bracket in Group D for the FIBA Asia Cup, we actually have a very good chance. It's just a matter of execution against these opponents. We're up against a couple of very interesting teams, New Zealand, India, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the other team should be Lebanon. Yes, Lebanon. Okay, so just confirm it. So in Group D, it's going to be those three teams that we are going to be going up against. Now, how is our lineup? What has been going on in the lineup, right? So over the past couple of days, Renzo Bando was in and out of the lineup. Finally, the Gilas men's national team got him back in. But we're gonna need to put Dwight Ramos on the shelf, who is arguably the best, who has been the best player for the Gilas men's national basketball team by far. He is out due to an injury, but in his stead, we did get Bobby Ray Parks to play for us as well. Now, the challenge here really is, how far do we think we can go with this lineup with Coach Chot Reyes at the helm? Here are a couple of factors that we believe could help us somehow win the FIBA Asia Cup. Let's go. One factor that we would definitely need to consider is trashing the dribble drive offense and replacing it with a little bit more motion system type offense. Now, the problem is, I know a lot of people are about to go through SDP and hold their own version of EDSA 2. Please do not do that. But again, Chot Reyes will be calling the shots and will be coaching the sidelines. He is not, I refuse to believe that he's a very stubborn coach and that he really believes in a system that obviously does not work, has not worked for us over the years, ever since the world has sort of changed their outlook when it comes to defending the dribble drive offense. It's a very easy offense to defend, really. It's more of like you just play zone and all of a sudden you negate anything that's possible with the dribble drive offense. We need a more systematic type of offense where there's a lot more motion, a lot more cutting, more European blend, if anything. Or if you want a very good reference, check out the San Antonio Spurs or the Golden State Warriors. Those types of offenses are the kind of offenses that we need to emulate. Why? We're not big. We're very, very small. As a Filipino myself, I'm not going to go out there and say that I'm one of the biggest people or one of the tallest. We're not one of the tallest cultured people in the world. Okay, we're very small, very short civilization on this side of the world. The average height of the Filipino is probably around 5'6" to 5'7". That's for both male and female. That's actually for male, I believe. Now, in a system offense, we spread the floor, we get defenders moving, we get them outside of the paint, where when there are opportunities, we actually are able to attack it and get easy layups. The problem with the dribble drive offense is that you're kind of congested in certain spots where it's a lot of pick and roll, and when that big man drops or switches, there's not a lot going on because it's just the help defenders can crash the paint and all of a sudden you don't have a driving lane. You're stuck with a very tough shot. That's number one. We need to have a more systematic type of offense. I hope and I believe Chot Reyes can adapt and evolve and somehow take into consideration that, okay, this offense that Nenad Vucinic and Tab Baldwin tried to implement, tried to integrate into the Gilas men's national basketball system can definitely work. It does and it will. Just have to believe in it. Okay, next is that we're going to need some very good performances from the guys that we are heavily going to count on in the offensive end. Here's the lineup. I'm going to go down the list with you, okay? So it's Kiefer Ravenna, Renzo Bando, Bobby Ray Parks, SJ Belangel, RJ Abarientos. Those are the guards. Then you have, I believe, 30 Ravenna, Will Navarro, LeBron Lopez, and then at the 4 and 5 positions, you have Boy Adam, Gio Chu, Kevin Kiambao, and Carl Tamayo. Okay. Who are the guys that we can count on here offensively? All right, we got Kiefer Ravenna. He's proven over the years that he can take over games. But he's not going to be enough. He's more of a playmaker, scorer type guy. Probably you're looking at 13 to 14 to 15 points that he can contribute, maybe a couple of assists here and there, 4 to 5, but that's about it. 30 Ravenna, the problem with 30 Ravenna's game is that it's predicated on his ability to be athletic in situations where the opponent is not. And that's going to be tough against teams like New Zealand, China, South Korea, and not really South Korea, probably New Zealand, China, Australia, the bigger teams. And I'm not so confident in his ability to get buckets if that's the case. And then you're going to look at Bobby Ray Parks. Bobby Ray Parks is probably our best bet to come up with big performances in the FIBA Asia Cup because he has had the B experience. We have seen him over the years just have explosive games where he can sort of take over. In a system like offense, you got to remember, when the player with the ball has a lot of opportunities and a lot of options, A, B, C through D, and he can basically make a decision with regards to, can I score here? Can I get it here? Do I have an ISO situation? Can I get to the hole? A guy like Bobby Ray Parks, the high IQ and a great ability to get to the hole and create his own shot, we're looking at a player who can possibly come up with a really big game for us in any one of these games. Again, our bracket is New Zealand, Lebanon, and India. I know we can take Lebanon and India. New Zealand, I'm not sure. I hope we have a chance against them, but the road is pretty tough if you're talking about getting all the way to the very end of this FIBA Asia Cup. Here's why. The FIBA Asia Cup, the road all the way to the finals, is not an easy one for Gilas Pilipinas. Granted, let's say, for example, that we do finish second in our bracket in Group D. Most likely, let's say somehow we even, unless we beat New Zealand and make it to the top spot, then we're kind of safe. But if in all likelihood, which is where we're probably going to be, we're going to end up as the second seed. The second seed goes up against, I believe, the third seed in Group A, which, if you're looking at the brackets, I could be wrong here, most likely it'll be Kazakhstan. So Kazakhstan falls into our lap. We've beaten Kazakhstan over the years. I don't believe there's a situation or there's a scenario where they beat us. I'm that confident in our team right now because of the talent that we have on the floor. Now, what happens if we do beat them? There's a high likelihood that we're gonna go up against China or South Korea, depending on who comes out as a top seed in Group A. And I believe that's a tough thing to go up against. I mean, because China is again one of the stronger teams always in the FIBA Asia Cup. They've never really leveled down, nor have they really leveled up, in my opinion, when it comes to world basketball. When I say they haven't leveled up, they really haven't shown enough mettle to take down European teams, take down North American teams, because those guys are just otherworldly athletic, tall, big, strong. These guys are just better at basketball, I guess. Then they've never leveled down. We're in teams like the Philippines, South Korea. We've been neck and neck. Iran, for example, with Hamed Haddadi over there and Mohamed Nika. But those two teams, they've just been neck and neck. They've never really taken over the other per se, and they've always been at the top of the standings every time when we go up against them in these tournaments. It's going to be a really, really hard situation for Gilas Pilipinas to somehow break through China and then move on to what I believe is a semi-final round before the final. And then again, they're going to need to try and beat the likes of New Zealand already. I'm not sure if Australia is even in this division. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So what are the key things that we need to do against China, for example? Okay, when you're talking about China, the key thing there is that they're very tall, they're very athletic, but they do have a weakness in that they don't really shoot the ball at a really high clip. That's one thing. Expect, if we're going up against China, that you're going to see a lot of zone from Gilas Pilipinas. And on the offensive side of the ball, their defense is their defense kind of comes unglued when it comes to just moving the ball left and right and getting them to help and recover. If you've watched China over the years, that's just been a weakness of theirs, where if you're just able to beat them off the bounce, off of a pump fake, and off of shooting threes, then you give yourself a very, very good chance of beating this team. Unless, of course, you're Team USA, where you have all the talent in the world to just take them down, period. But we don't. We're Gilas Pilipinas. We shouldn't really put ourselves in that breath because we haven't worked enough to be there. But talking about how to beat China, again, it's a lot more zone defense. It's going to be a lot of trying to get a lot of easy buckets. If we don't do that, and if China gets to play the way they want to, which is to use their size, to use their athleticism against us, and to use ultimately their basketball IQ against us, then we're absolutely screwed on an nth level. But for Gilas Pilipinas to somehow pull this out, we're also going to need a big game. A big game from somebody like, again, I talked about him earlier, Bobby Ray Parks, Kiefer Ravenna, maybe even Carl Tamayo. The young guy got to step up and show what he's worth on the world stage. what better opportunity for you if you're Carl Tamayo to say to the entire world, okay, I'm just as good as Sky Soto. Give me the ball. I'm gonna go out here and dominate, and I'm gonna show the world that I am world class. That I am possibly. I've been high on this kid for a very long time. I am possibly NBA level. I have high hopes for the kid. I don't care what people say. Him and Ranzaban, if they can somehow just go out there and dominate the way they did in the UAAP and the NCAA, maybe we have a chance. And then you couple that with the pros already in Kiefer 3rd and Bobby Ray, and plus we have boy Adam manning the paint for us. Can't go wrong. Now, we have a lot more Gilas news in store for everybody. Make sure to check out all our videos down below. We're going to talk a little bit about Chot Reyes and Nenad Vucinic. Why is there such a difference? Chot Reyes and Tab Baldwin. Why there's such a difference when it comes to the mental aspect of becoming a coach. And also, we're going to break down who we think, in terms of who else is out there in the world, who we think are the top Filipino foreign prospects that can help this Gilas men's national basketball team. This has been Jeff for GT Sports. I'll see you on the next one.